Quite the shakeup on Capitol Hill today. Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell will step down from that position later on this year. McConnell, who turned 82 last week, says he still plans to finish out his Senate term, which ends in 2027. Joining me tonight to discuss is Brandon Brice, a conservative commentator and host of The Brice is Right on iHeartRadio. Thanks for joining me tonight, Brice.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So McConnell says that he came to this decision because he realizes his views on things like national security have put him out of step with today's Republican Party. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know if it was necessarily just his views, but I think, this is not one, but two instances where we saw an ailing and frail Mitch McConnell. And so I give kudos to the fact that he's recognizing, you know what, it's time to pass the torch. Unfortunately, the one that's in the White House don't think he's realized or come to that conclusion. And so I think what you're seeing now is, I'm excited to see who the Republicans are going to put up to take Mitch's seat. But the good thing is, this is the problem. Politics was never meant to stay there or die in office. When you become irrelevant or when there clearly are issues, you got to pass the torch. And unfortunately, that's not a culture of politics that we're used to today. People get these seats, they hold on to them, and they hold on for dear life. That's not a good way to be a good steward. If we're talking about representing a district or representing a congressional district, when, people have to step down and move when it's their time. And thank God Mitch McConnell realized that it's time to move on.
Yeah. Well, with former President Trump, the likely nominee heading into November, do you think McConnell's relationship with the former president, it has been embattled at moments. Do you think that's part of this? Do you think McConnell's just seeing the writing on the wall?
No. Again, I go back to, again, this is an ailing and frail Mitch McConnell. This is not the same Mitch McConnell from, two Senate cycles ago. He's recognizing that there may be some health challenges there as it relates to Donald Trump. Right now, again, we still, people are saying he's favored to be the nominee, but it's still not over. You still have someone in the race named Nikki Haley, and so it's not over until it's over. What I will say is that, this is a senator who, in many cases, started off with the president and then, as time grew further apart. And so I'm curious to see how his stepping down in this seat is going to impact his relationship or even his support if Trump is the nominee.
Sure. You mentioned you'd be excited to see who takes his place. Do you have any predictions? Is there someone you would like to see take that spot or anyone waiting in the wings?
I think, again, politics is all about name ID. I think the Attorney General former Attorney General of Kentucky is a strong candidate. I think, his name has been out in the public. Again, anybody can take that seat. I don't live in Kentucky, and that's not my call. But the reality is, I think it's exciting to see that possibly Kentucky could have its first African-American U.S. senator.
Sure. McConnell has been a controversial character at certain moments in his career. What do you think will be his lasting impact, though? What kind of legacy will he leave as that longest-serving leader?
I think Mitch McConnell is a guy, whether you like him or not, he gets stuff done. He's really part of the old guard, and Joe Biden himself as well. These are the, Dick Armey, Joe Biden, John McCain. These were the Republicans that even if they didn't agree, they were able to make a way out of no way, and they were able to get things done in Washington. Unfortunately, that's not the D.C. we see today. It's not personal, it's business. And he's part of that lasting legacy of those Republicans and Democrats that came together in their differences and got things done.
Yeah. When you look over on the other side at the House and the sort of precarious nature of leadership in the House right now, do you see another leader, whoever that is, holding on to that spot for a very long time as McConnell did, or should we get used to some pretty short tenures?
It's interesting. I think even the speaker is trying, the speaker, the new speaker, that is, I think he's trying to be a person who can work across the aisle. I think keep your eyes on Byron Donalds out of Florida. He's a guy who's kind of trying to find consensus within the middle. I think you got a host of young conservatives and liberals who are coming in, and Hakeem Jeffries on the left is another one who's trying to find compromise to move the ball forward. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what's best for the elected official. It's about what's best for the people that they represent.
Yeah. And what do you expect out of a Senator McConnell at this point in his career when he's no longer in that leadership position?
I think his focus right now should be trying to get the party to move in the right direction, and if possible, naming his successor is going to be a big step. I think those are big shoes to fill, and so it's going to be bad to see him go. But again, I commend someone who's recognizing that it's maybe their time to move on and step down.
Sure. Well, Brandon Brice, host of The Brice is Right on iHeartRadio, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.